Hello, everyone. My guest today is David Tran and his partner, Jim. They decided to start a technical support agency after they realized how difficult it was to hire and find competent agents for their own businesses. Once they cracked the code, per se, they realized many SaaS founders and owners have not figured this out, and they wanted to solve that problem for everyone. David, you ready to take us to the top?
Yep.
All right. So bring Jim in here. Are you guys both co-founders?
Yes, we are. We met almost about 2 years ago, and we really hit it off.
Jim, who had the idea?
So David, I guess you could say, was my first client. So I consulted with David. My background is in SaaS, and I worked for. I own a SaaS now. So does David, and I also worked for a private equity fund operating SaaS businesses. So David acquired a business, and I started working for him on the side, and we hit it off and became fast friends, and really saw the need for better technical support. So that's kind of the launching point for XFusion.
And we rarely get two founders on at once. So I'm going to use this and take advantage of it. One of the hardest questions, and also it's usually the most dilutive event in a company's history, is debating with your founder on how you're going to split the company at the start. So how did you guys approach that conversation?
I've been married for 15 years, and I feel like I've learned something about building a good relationship with my partner. So we, David and I feel like are well aligned. We're not the same, which is a beautiful thing. We've really been embracing our differences and had a lot of conversations about that. So we have a straight up just 50-50 split. And that's gone really well. We kind of, right now we like to say that we operate with a mentality of that we're Swiss Army knives. Like as founders, we have to do so many different things. But we also understand each of our strengths, and we split up responsibilities in line with our strengths, and it's worked out really well.
So you guys are really scratching your own itch here with the product, and just there's no ambiguity. What is the product name that you guys are building today?
You want to take that one, David?
I don't think we actually have a specific name for it. XFusion.io is the company brand for now. And the direction we want to take the company is to be the source of all premium outsourcing offerings for startups and companies. And for right now, we're starting off with support because we think it's the easiest and stickiest product. I think when you can get someone on with support, they usually stick around based on the industry metrics, 3+ years, and that's a pretty that lends to pretty good LTVs, which helps us to fund other expansions to new verticals.
You're saying if you can use XFusion, and XFusion's first brand is to help software companies or any company hire support people, that support person will stick at that company for 3 years, giving you time to then upsell other additional products you build under XFusion brand.
Correct.
Interesting.
And I think just being in the position where we hear people's pains helps us develop a mindset and unique, knowledge set based on industry needs at a given moment for specific people.
So you guys have both done this. How do people currently, Jim, maybe take this one. How do people currently hire their support folks? Where do they look? Where do they go? What do they pay?
So, just to, bounce back to the last one, we've decided to scratch our own itch here. And in our experience working with other outsourced companies, they just didn't do an effective job, and they didn't understand us. They didn't understand SaaS. So with our background, we know the unique needs of SaaS. With my experience in private equity, working with tons of different SaaS founders, we wanted to create something that was really beneficial for them. So our team is based overseas, and the cost is $2,500 for one full-time resource. I don't know if that answers your question just now, Nathan, or not.
Yeah, no. So the question is, how do other people right now find support people and hire? Like, who are you going to replace if you do this well?
Yeah, a lot of our clients are technical founders that are providing support themselves. And one of the clear value propositions, we help them get back to their highest and best use of time. So they're overstretched, they're technical founders. Many of them don't enjoy providing front-end customer support. So they're either doing it themselves, or they've experimented with hiring outsourcers that maybe they're managing directly. Another layer that we provide is managed services. So maybe they've hired somebody that they manage themselves, and it's just they're not getting an effective ROI. Or in some cases, they've hired full-time U.S.-based employees that maybe they're paying $60,000 a year, and they just can't afford to bring on more or to offer weekend support or that sort of thing.
So what's your model going to look like? How are you guys going to make money?
Yeah, basically, we charge $2,500 per agent, and we pay our team less than that. Although we do pay among the top. We pay about 30% higher than our competitors. So effectively, we make money off of the difference.
So if I am listening right now as a software founder and I reach out and go to XFusion and I use you guys, and you find me a support person that I like and I hire, I will pay you $2,500, monthly? And you're paying out less than that?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I see.
So you
What
pay
margin? What margin
$2,500.
will you build in for yourself?
Yeah, we pay $800 per month for our full-time agents,
Okay, got
which
it.
is about $200 per month higher than our competitors. So we have a decent margin on that. We also have, like, part of my background is in customer success, so we're also able to offer customer success services as well, which is a bit of a different model and something we need to kind of think through the best way to present. But there's often SaaS founders that need customer success but don't necessarily need a full-time $80,000 a year team member in the U.S. to do that.
So how many companies have hired through you guys today? In other words, how many support people do you guys have employed today?
Yeah, we have 8 people employed across 4 different clients, and we're just getting started. We just officially launched in May, so May was our first month.
Got it. So, okay, and maybe explain to me how you guys separate roles. So, David, what do you do that Jim doesn't?
I think I come from a background so I'm a former engineer at Uber, and I think one of the things that Uber did really well is scale really, really fast, really, really aggressively. And just being in that space and seeing how it was done, I think that's where my personal interest and ability lies the best. So just finding all the different ways to scale upwards. A lot of things are still in the pipeline, but we're really targeting to scale pretty aggressively. Our competitors usually hit the 5 to 10 million mark within 5-ish years. I'd really like to see us get it there within 2 to 3.
I mean, the margins are compelling, right? If you guys have 4 companies, they've helped hire 8 people, and all those 8, and they're paying $2,500 per 8 of the people, right? That's $20,000 a month in top line revenue, of which you guys have to pay out. What is that? About $6,400 for 8 people at $800 a month.
About 40%, yeah.
Yeah.
The industry norm is around 30 to 50% in profit margin. So if we're somewhere in that ballpark and we're able to aggressively grow and reinvest those profits for further growth through paid ads or through hiring either salespersons or SDRs, I think it scales very aggressively and pretty linearly, pretty well. It's not exactly SaaS levels of efficiency, but it's pretty darn close.
It's pretty close. I mean, you're making 13. So net revenue after paying your people you hire overseas, your net revenue is like 13,600, something like that.
Something around there.
Yeah. And then you can do whatever you want to do with that to drive future growth.
Mm-hmm.
What are you testing right now?
We're currently going to different agencies to figure out who was the best pitch for helping us develop either a paid ad campaign, outreach campaigns, or full end-to-end sales.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, and the Fiverr people are going to hate me for saying this, but I know a lot of people that build these networks by just going on Fiverr, searching support, and then bringing like the Fiverr people on the Fiverr network under their own brand and paying them more than what they can make through Fiverr. Just smile if you're doing that. I don't want Fiverr to come after you, but
no. Thanks for the idea, but no, not yet.
Interesting. And then how are you? I mean, what do you think the opportunity is here? So in a year, do you think you can get up to 500 employees that you've placed in just the support function?
I'd love to get to that level.
I mean, can you?
Yeah,
How do you get there?
A year is super.
So I think there's 2 sides of the marketplace. We're effectively a marketplace matcher in the sense that there's a supply side and demand side. There's people who either they want indirectly or they just don't know that they need customer support, and there's people who want to provide that job. We're noticing that there's a lot of people internationally who have fairly proficient English backgrounds and fairly technical education as well. I think everyone we've hired thus far has a computer science degree. And I think
for $800 a month.
Internationally, yes.
Wow.
So I think there's this major opportunity in the sense that the international market has education that it's probably not on par with like American education, but it offers a lot of value and hasn't been captured by the marketplace yet.
Jim, have you guys bootstrapped the company or have you raised?
No, we just bootstrapped.
Any plans to raise?
Not at this stage.
We just don't see the need to. Like it's it's profitable from the very beginning. So as long as you get past the point you can pay for your own salary, everything else is investable money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, right now, again, assuming you have no sales marketing expense and you're paying your guys, a basic salary, $4 or $5 grand a month each, you're still bringing $3,000-$5,000 a month to the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you guys paying yourself right now, or no? You're reinvesting everything?
Yeah, I'm paying myself. David has an income from a different source, so he's getting promised back pay. But yeah,
tell me how that works. That's a very popular model that a lot of people never actually talk about how that works. But I hear this all the time.
So Jim has a family, and I totally respect the fact that he wants to be a good father and husband. And I think a part of that role is just providing for your family. And I think one of the things I want to provide for him is that security, in the sense that the first amount of money pays for his salary, and I'm perfectly fine with that. We each own SaaS businesses, and my SaaS business pays me more than enough that I need to cover my month-to-month living expenses. So I'd much rather have every ounce of money that we can reinvest. I want to reinvest for as long as we can, because I feel like the ROI of that is better than anything else I can find on the public market and even the private markets.
What is your SaaS company, David?
So it's shopstorm.com. So it's actually the app through which Jim and I met. We provide various services for people in the Shopify app ecosystem.
Shopstorm.com.
Correct.
Fascinating. Okay, so what does the back pay agreement look like? Other founders have said, Nathan, yeah, we just basically agree that, I should, somewhere around $5,000 a month. And then I'm not actually going to take that cash out of the business. I want to reinvest everything. But 5 years from now, if we sell for $100 million, I'll essentially get a little sweetener, which is equal to all the back pay that I accumulated. Is that kind of how your agreement works?
More or less.
Yeah. Interesting.
And I will say, on a foundational level, we just start from a place of trust. David and I were able to build a relationship previous to officially partnering together, where we just have a whole lot of trust for each other. And it allows us to operate in a more efficient way.
No, this makes good sense.
One thing that I think made a substantial difference in the way I'm able to approach this opportunity that Jim and I have is the fact that when I was working at Uber, my intention was to build up roughly 10 years of living expenses so I can just hit the ground running for 10 years. So even if I failed constantly for 10 years straight, I can at least pay for my cost of living in a relatively frugal way.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to fail for 10 years straight, but we'll see what happens. You never know. Jim, how many people are you guys today? Is it just you two?
We're the only founders. Yeah. The only owners.
Well, but how many employees?
8.
And does that include support people you've placed, or those 8 people working on the business?
Yeah, that includes support people as well. So we have team leadership as well. We have somebody that's doing writing coaching. One of our differentiators is we train our agents on how to be excellent writers as well. So not just technical support, but actually writing with good tone, empathy, things like that. So we have a writing coach, and we have a team leader and someone that does recruiting as well. We're actually bringing on a customer success person hopefully next week. We're interviewing them shortly.
How many of the 8 are actually doing support? In other words, you are billing them out to customers?
6. I think we're at 6.
Got it. Okay, so it's not always a 1-to-1 ratio. In other words, you could have one of your full-time people that you pay $800 a month. You could have 2 customers paying you each $2,500 a month to get access to that same person for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, we offer weekend support as well. So we do offer dedicated support. One thing that's different is some of our competitors do per response support, where one agent may work across 10 different inboxes that are very low volume. We don't do that. We have dedicated agents. But we also have a product where we offer weekend support as well. And that might it's literally 2 shifts, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And then our client pays $1,200 a month for that. And we use the extra hours from the team to work on other proactive tasks.
I see.
So we hire a full-time resource. Yeah.
And so then besides David, who obviously is engineering at Uber, are any other coders on the team, developers?
Yeah, so the 6 that are support agents all have degrees. So, and in fact, we were just talking about, David and I, about hiring or utilizing one of our team members to build out a tool called, what's it that called, David? Basically parsing out.
Yeah, we wanted to start building up very simple tools that can help founders just as a form of lead generation. The one we have in mind so far is there's this calculator known as the Slicing Pie Equity Calculator. And I just want to create a simple version of it that's free. It's just so that people can figure out what's the appropriate split for equity amongst founders in various startup situations.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what I meant is how many engineers do you guys have actually writing code for the company, for your business?
Right now, 0.
Yeah,
I think our current priority is not so much SaaS, but we think that once we have sufficient profit, reinvesting our team's talent into SaaS is a no-brainer.
Anyone, I know you're early, but has anyone started paying you and stopped paying you? Do they have any churn?
Not yet, thankfully.
and no downgrades? No one went from 2 support reps through you down to 1?
No, just we had one client that went from 1 full-time agent to effectively 2.5.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to do it.
I think it's going to be, we'll see, and I don't want to be cocky, but I think it's going to be a pretty sticky product because when we onboard somebody, they pay in advance, and they provide training to the first agent. And that takes there's skin in the game from our clients. So they train the first agent, and then we train subsequent agents with our team. So, we think that the churn will be quite low, especially as we, deliver on our promises.
I think the tricky thing for what you guys do is eventually, if people scale with you, especially like let's say they listen to this interview and they hear that you guys pay $800 and they're paying $2,500, that is enough of a spread that they would want to save at scale that they would go try and figure out how to do this direct. And the question is, can you add enough value where they keep transacting through your platform versus trying to hustle and figure out how to go direct?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Yeah, I think the difference is that we provide management. So it's not easy to hire and to vet and hire the top 3% of the agents. I mean, we go through literally hundreds of applications and have a very thorough vetting process, a thorough training process, and then we have a layer of management on top of that, as well as customer success. So certainly, it's no secret. Everybody knows they can go find people on Fiverr and other places to work for a few $100s a month. That's no secret. It's just finding good ones that's challenging and time consuming, and then managing them. So that's the value add that we bring to the table.
Yeah,
especially for a lot of
early founders.
Yeah, for a lot of early founders, the most important thing to them is their time. Effectively, the time is what either makes or breaks their company. And if they're trying to save a couple $100s by hiring someone directly, it eats up a lot of their focus.
Yeah, I would say though early stage too, you're extremely cash constrained. You're trying to bootstrap everything as best you can and do everything super cheap. So it's a balance. We'll see what happens. I think I think this kind of thing ends up having a lot of success actually in the mid-market enterprise space where they're too small to go want to do direct, but they're big enough where they need 10 support people, and it's worth paying you guys $25,000 a month to just handle that. We'll see. Very good. So you guys really, 2020 you'd say is the launch date, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's wrap up here with the famous five. We'll go back and forth between you guys. David, you first. Favorite book, business book?
Unscripted.
Number 2, Jim, let's go to you. Is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Oh, gosh, several. I'd have to say Elon Musk comes to mind first.
All right. David, favorite online tool for building your guys' company besides your own?
Favorite online tool? It's not so much directly related to building the company, but I really like Airtable for organizing stuff.
Yeah. All right. I'm actually using it right now for the podcast stuff. Big Airtable fan. All right, Jim, let's wrap up these last few with you because family-oriented questions here. How many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
I optimize for 8. I get about 7.5 or so.
Okay. And situation sounds like married and 2 kids?
Dude, I got a lot of kids.
How many?
I've got 7 right now. I got 2 step kids, 1 bio kid, 2 adopted kids, and 2 foster kids.
Oh, that's a lot of write-offs.
Dude, yes. It would be insensitive for me to say that, but that's what I feel every year. It's a hell of a lot of write-offs. Yeah.
All right. 7 kids. Wow. Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 37.
37. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Oh, man. I wish I was just much more confident. It's taken me, honestly, to probably early 30s to even just establish a baseline level of confidence in myself. So if I would have been more willing to take risks and just step out and be more confident, that's what I would have suggested my earlier self to do.
Guys, XFusion.io, they're helping 4 companies scale up. Currently about 8 support reps. They manage these support reps. They find them, they train them over the seas, they give them copywriting skills. They then pay those folks about $800 a month. Customers, though, of theirs pay $2,500 a month per support rep that they hire. So doing about $20,000 per month right now in revenue, highly profitable. The question is, can they scale to hundreds and hundreds of reps, manage them? And then also it's a marketplace. Can they find the companies, the software companies, and other companies that need these sort of support reps and are willing to pay $2,500 a month to scale with them? We'll see what happens. Ultimately, the goal of XFusion.io is to be the place you go for everything related to outsourcing. David, Jim, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.